Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Wine with Jimmy channel. Thank you for stopping by. This is all about wine education, so you'll find the information you need about a specific topic, region, grape variety, and so on. My videos follow the syllabus of wine qualifications and texts very closely. This video is very much mirroring the WSET Diploma Level 4. So if you are studying, this is brilliant for you. But if you are thinking about going to the region or you want to know more about these areas, you will find the information you need as well. Any comments or questions, please do get in touch by commenting on this video below. It will be great to hear from you. So we are here on the final series of Portugal, and we are talking about 4 parts here. We're going to go through the wines of Lisbon in this first part. Now, we're going to talk about the location, and I'll go through really sort of the key grape varieties, the DOCs, and a little bit around the wine business as well, all in one video for the wines of Lisbon. Now, you'll see the map just there, highlighted in red. North of the city of Lisbon is the long, thin region, which is around 150 kilometers from north to south. That's about 90 miles. And the total area of vineyards is somewhere around 18,000 hectares. Now, of course, because having the city of Lisbon right at its doorstep means, of course, most of the wine goes into that city. But let's talk a little bit about the climate and weather to begin. So there is a coastal mountain range called the Serra de Montejunto, which splits the region into 2 distinct areas. And I've included that mountain range there. Lisbon is off to the south of this map, and those brown triangles are the Serra de Montejunto, and you'll see that that gives you a dividing line of Lisbon, the region. The western side of the region, running alongside the Atlantic coast, will gain wet weather as per those blue arrows you see on your picture, and strong winds. So this makes grape growing more challenging, though a number of producers are being more attracted to these sites by the climate and by the clay limestone soils, wishing to make more elegant, lighter bodied and fresher style wines. The eastern side of the region is more protected due to the Serra de Montejunto, and it's better suited to the production of fuller and riper bodied wines. So, what do we find in terms of grape varieties? There are a wide range of Portuguese and international varieties found here, and they are permitted in both the Vinho Regional, which is the wine that comes from the whole of the Lisbon region, and the DOCs. Now, since the major restructuring which followed Portugal's admission to the European Union, there was a change in its direction here from quantity to quality focused production, as with many other European wine regions. But to be honest, this diverse region is still trying to find its feet, to try and carve its own path. There are newcomer grape varieties such as Touriga Nacional and Aragonês, but also the historic local white grape variety of Arinto, which is thought to be the really key grape variety of potential in the region. You'll also find Malvasia as well, and a grape called Vital, which is a low acid, often quite neutral style, but it's seeing a bit of a renaissance under the likes of Antonio Calvala. Other varieties look out for Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc, and Riesling, and also a red grape called Ramisco. I'll talk about that very, very soon. Let's discuss the DOCs that we find in Lisbon. Now, it is quite complex. As we can see, there are 8 parts to the DOCs. 8 specific DOCs. First of all, we'll see the large number 1 here, but I'm also grouping here number 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this is the Encostas de Airi, Lourinhã, Obiduce, and then Torres Vedras as well, going down from the north towards the coast sort of part of this zone. First of all then, Encostas de Airi is located on the limestone hills extending across the northern end of the Lisbon wine region and also down towards the sort of southwestern corner. Then we have the Obiduce or Obidos, which is centered around the town of the same name. It's about 1 hour north of Lisbon. Now, like its closest neighbor, which is Lourinhã, that's famous for brandy production. It's quite cool and windy in these two parts, which makes it unsuited to the production of refined red and white wine. So it's much more suited in Lourinhã and Óbidos as more kind of fortified styles of wine and spirits. Also, the region of Óbidos is quite famous for sparkling production. What else do we have in the area here? So in the southern section, we have Torres Vedras, centered around the town of the same name. This area has quite high yields, typically wines used for bulk production for our Vino da Mesa style wines. The area was kind of unofficially known by the shorthand Torres until the Spanish wine producer Miguel Torres objected to the association with the region, of course. Then we have the areas of 5, 6, and 7 on your map. And we're going to focus on the numbers of 5, 6, and 9 on your map. We're going to look at number 5 and number 9. That's because Alenquer and Bucelas are the both most well known on the eastern side of the coastal mountains. Alenquer makes full-bodied red wines, which are sheltered in their location, often from Touriga Nacional and Aragonés, but other black varieties and white varieties are grown here too. The wines are good to very good, mid-priced, with some premium and super premium examples as well. Bucelas, which is a small historic region, makes high acid wines from Arinto. And Arinto must make up 75% of the blend. So this is in the small part of number 9 on your map just there. Some of the wines are fermented in stainless steel. Others have lees contact and or oak, and that gives you more texture. The wines tend to be good to very good and only inexpensive to mid-priced in their price point. And then finally, the little districts of 7 and 8 towards the bottom of the region, close to Lisbon. This is Colares and Carcavelos. They are smaller coastal DOCs of great historic importance. They are almost entirely subsumed by Lisbon's suburbs. And this is a cool, foggy coastal climate where we find ungrafted old bush vines on the deep, phylloxera-free sandy soils, specifically in Colares, number 7. There are wonderfully high acidic, fresh red wines here from specifically Ramisco. That accounts for just over half of the production of the Colares number 7 district there. Expect medium-bodied, pronounced acidity with very rustic tannins, and you tend to get only ABVs of around 11 or 12%. There is wonderfully sort of phylloxera-free sandy soils and the Ramisco vines in that picture. The other area, number 8 on your map, which is Carcavelos, is traditionally famed for fortified wines, once adored by the 3rd president of the United States of America, Thomas Jefferson. So what about the wine business here? The vast majority of production comes from the Vino Regional Lisboa. As you can see here with the label Pereira, Vino Regional Lisboa written in smaller font just below that. This has a history of production of inexpensive wines for sale to the Portuguese colonies. And that is because there doesn't need to be much sort of drill down about specifics of location. So that is very popular today. So greatest volume is Lisboa Vino Regional. There are 9 DOCs that we just went through on the previous 3 slides. One of those purely focused on grape spirit production, which is Lourinhã. But many producers don't tend to use the DOCs because having the word Lisboa or Lisbon on the label is much more attractive. The production across Lisbon's DOCs in 2018 was just 45,000 hectolitres, whereas the Vino Regional of Lisboa was around 885,000 hectolitres. This is changing, but it's still very much dominated by that more sort of commercially viable production. Also, a substantial proportion of certified wine, that's around 40%, is made by the producer you see here, Casa Santos Lima, which makes inexpensive mid-price brands and private labels for supermarkets and retailers. So do look out for those, but look out for other producers such as Quinta de Chocopalja, also Quinta de Montedorio as well as key producers. Okay, that brings me to a conclusion for the wines of Lisbon. Please do join me for the Setúbal Peninsula wines next on part 2. If you have any comments or questions, please do get in touch by commenting on this video below. If you do find yourself in the UK, come and say hello for a class, glass, or bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now.